Joining me now is Mark Regev, a current advisor to Prime Minister Netanyahu and also the former Israeli ambassador to the UK. Ambassador, these are very difficult times, and what Tony Blinken is doing in traveling to Tel Aviv is, as you know, expressing his full support for Israel. But my reporting is he's also going to express some tough love for Israel amidst growing concern here in the States and elsewhere, certainly in the region, over civilian deaths, and a decline in public support for the way Israel is conducting the war, a justified war of response to Hamas's continuing threats. Can you give us some indication of how you're receiving, how the Prime Minister is receiving this criticism of the way these last 3 or 4 days have been progressing?
So, Andrea, first of all, thank you for having me back. I think what we're looking forward to welcoming Secretary Blinken here tomorrow. But I think on the big issues, of course, Israel and the United States see eye to eye. We want to see the Hamas military machine destroyed. As was said in the previous report, the Hamas leaders themselves say that if they remain in power, if they remain with their military machine intact, we'll just see more brutal massacres like we had on October 7th. They say it. It's their words. They'll do more of the rapes and more of the brutal killings. They'll do more of the sort of terrible, horrific violence that we saw them capable of do just 3 weeks ago. So it's important that we continue with the mission and disarm Hamas. That's crucial. At the same time, as a democratic society, and Israel and the United States are both democratic societies, we want to differentiate between our enemy, which is these Hamas extremists, and between Gaza's civilian population, who are not the targets of our offensive. And as a result, of course, we're always learning lessons. We're talking to friends and others. How do we do an effective job in trying to safeguard Gaza's civilians and at the same time be ruthless in our pursuit of Hamas? Now, I'd like to tell you, Andrea, there's a textbook answer. Unfortunately, there isn't, because Hamas is doing its best to maximize Gazan civilian losses. They've deliberately put their military machine in civilian neighborhoods, under hospitals. And so we are facing a challenging combat situation. But like the United States, we are committed to lowering and to minimizing as much as possible civilian losses. We don't want to see them.
And Hamas says it's going to repeat last month's horrific terror attacks on Israel. Hamas spokesman saying again and again until the country is destroyed. I know you're taking that seriously. I guess the question is tactics. One top military expert, a former official, said to me last night that, in fact, a ground invasion is a better way to target and get into tunnels and root out terror leaders than using a bunker buster bomb and putting huge craters in the middle of a refugee camp.
So you're right, Andrea, and that's why we're using both tactics. There are times where an attack from the air is the appropriate tool, and there are times when you need to have boots on the ground. And of course, we're only talking about Israeli boots on the ground. We haven't asked anyone to do the fighting for us. We know it's necessary. We've already lost soldiers in this battle. Unfortunately, I have to tell you, we're going to probably lose more. But this is a job that has to be done. We cannot continue to live next to this terror enclave on our southern border, because we know that's just a recipe for problems down the line. And just listen, as you said yourself, to what Hamas itself says. You know what's interesting about Hamas, Andrea? That in the past, you've had terrible war criminals. You know, you had the Nazis and their mass murders. You had the Stalinists in Russia who butchered entire populations. But both those ruthless regimes did their best to hide their crimes. The Nazis, there were even stories that as the Allies were approaching Germany towards the end of the war, they actually dismantled the extermination camps because they wanted to hide their crimes. Hamas advertises their inhumanity. A lot of the material we have about the massacres on October 7th, they were taken from Hamas's own material that was uploaded by Hamas, who filmed the massacres, filmed the rapes, filmed the burning of people alive, filmed the cutting of heads off innocent people, and then they uploaded it on social media. And this is a new low, to advertise and be proud of your crimes. President Biden was so right when he said Hamas is sheer evil. They are evil. They must be destroyed.
You know, I watched the video and I know exactly what you're talking about, and it's horrifying. And the problem is that they are now, there is a radicalized community that will respond to that, and increasingly radicalized by the civilian casualties. So there's a balancing act here. Are you concerned about public opinion, which matters, as well as the cost in human lives? UNICEF is calling for an immediate ceasefire, saying that the killing of children has to stop. Is there a way to do this and protect civilian lives and still achieve your goal?
Well, I'd remind you of two things. Number one, in the just fight against ISIS, where the US led a global coalition against ISIS to destroy its territorial enclaves in both Syria and Iraq, there was unfortunately collateral damage. Obviously, the United States did its best to try to minimize that damage, but there was nevertheless a civilian toll in life. And I think when we fight Hamas now, and we must, there is no alternative to destroying Hamas's military machine. I'd like to tell you that we could send an email to the Secretary General of the United Nations and it'd all be solved quickly. But no, that is not a serious option. We have to fight. We have to send our troops into harm's way to destroy Hamas. And it's a job that has to be done. And we'll do so while making a maximum effort to limit civilian casualties. That's our goal. But when this is over and we have destroyed Hamas, I mean, ultimately that's good for the people of Israel. But it's also good for the people of Gaza. Andrea, Hamas has been in power for 16 years. And what have the people of Gaza received from Hamas? Violence, impoverishment, pain, and suffering. Surely the Palestinians themselves deserve better than this terrorist regime that once again has brought nothing but suffering.
Understood. But by the way, the analogy to what happened after 9/11 is exactly, those casualties are exactly what President Biden was cautioning when he said that America made mistakes, and we're paying for it.
And we're having a good conversation with the Americans, and we're learning from mistakes America made then, and we're also learning from our own behavior today. And it's important. There's always a way to do the job better. And we're a society that looks at ourselves, and there are checks and balances, and we're trying to understand. But one thing is indisputable. We have to win this war. We have to destroy Hamas's military machine precisely because we're listening to what Hamas's own leaders are saying. If they have the capability, they will butcher our people again. We have to deny them that capability. We have to deny them their territorial base. That is crucial. Israelis refuse to return to the status quo of October 7th at 6 in the morning, where we sit next to this enclave of terrorists who are just waiting to plan the next attack and kill our people. We refuse to return to that reality. I don't think any country should have to live in that reality.